You guys come out here to help? Okay. Nicola, you get over there and start pouring baits. Kaya, why don't you go plug in the lead pot and jump over there on the airbrush. Loki, why don't you just start making twist wires? Can you do that? Well, we've been busy. Well, that looks crappie pattern. But there's more work to do and more lures to make. So I drew a bunch of stuff with like circles and lines. I'm gonna make some adjustments still. But that should catch fish, right? Let's find out. So this is gonna be a Magnum spoon. I've never really even fished with a spoon, so I should probably be making this. But I've been watching Chris Zaldane fish a lot the last several years, and this is one of his favorite techniques. I don't like the actual shape of this right now, so I'm gonna make a few adjustments. See, I drew a few more lines from the initial shapes that I made. I think I'm gonna narrow this up a little bit, but I've got plenty of depth to work with to really get some good shape to this where it should want to flutter down a little bit. So here we go. You guys don't like that, do you? Sorry. My dogs really don't like the saw, apparently. Yeah, so I took some off of that, and I'm going to use the sander over here to finish shaping it. But, you know, you might look at that and say, man, that's just like, it's way too big for a fish to eat. Well, not if you look at it that way, or especially from that way. A bass can totally get that in their mouth. So we're going to shape it a little bit. This guy's gonna give me some issues, but I'll make deal with it, or I don't know, I'll figure something out. But we still have to cut and shape this to a thinner piece, as well as make it a little bit concave on the inside. Here we go.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
Alright, well that gets the overall shape. I still have to do a lot of sculpting out of the center of it. So because of that knot, I think I'm going to do it from the other side maybe. I haven't decided if I'm going to use a Dremel or not yet, but Magnum spoon. I don't know what the name is. It's got to be something with ice cream or like cereal killer. I don't know. I took quite a bit off of that. It's still way too big. But I'm going to come back through here and round this up to the top edge. But I'm also going to cave out the middle. So based on the fact that that's rough there, this is probably the side I'm going to hollow out. I'll need to make sure I get that really nice and smooth for the finish sand. I'm going to start putting some more marks on here. I'll put a center line again roughly. And some points in here where I want this to be caved up. So due to, I think this is probably going to be the best way to do this, and it's the best tool for the job. I am going to have to be careful because it's not that thick, but I'm going to take it from both sides of the center and kind of round it using the sanding belt. And then I'm going to come back to the inside and kind of hollow out the middle of it a little bit. The idea of this is it'll kind of make it want to flutter and fall and stuff. Anyways. I don't know if you can see that. It's pretty well rounded everything off. I've got everything down to the line proportionately. I can finish the rest hand sanding using my eyeballs. I'm probably just going to hand sand the inside of this too. I haven't decided yet. A Dremel might be pretty aggressive for no bigger than that is. It smells like a hamster cage in here now because this is cedar. I might take just a little bit more off of that. There we go. So this is going to be an aggressive move, but I feel like this little space right here and I've got that line is actually the same size as this. If here goes nothing, I may totally ruin it, or I'll get done a lot faster. Okay, so that was aggressive, and there's cleanup. You can see that it kind of did the trick. It's taking a good chunk of weight out of it now. You know, the big difference between what I'm doing and everything that's already on the market, I've never seen resin spoons before. In theory, I should be able to control how fast they sink or float or how much they flutter around by changing the curvature in the spoon. In theory. But, yeah, here we go. We're gonna try to finish shaping this off. It's gonna be a large bait. I do want to leave just enough material that I can carve a gill pattern and have a spot for an eyeball in here too, because that's another thing that's going to kind of make it stand out. If you look at this, if you put some fins and a tail back here, that's the overall general shape of a fish. And I'm going to make it look like a fish by putting eyeballs. Then you'll see. So, to save you some boredom, I didn't show the quick sanding process I did to kind of finish shaping this bait. Nicola is very interested, but also camera shy. Anyways, I'm going to do a little bit of hand sanding. Starting to take shape though. And we'll go over kind of some of why this bait works, why it doesn't, and how mine's going to be different. So I'm just going to do all of this with 220, just because I believe it's cedar. Could be redwood. Smells like cedar. But you can see even 220 takes quite a bit off relatively quickly. I'm just going to do this by hand. You don't really need me to explain. You take the sandpaper, you rub it back and forth, so you get the desired shape and texture that you were hoping for. Did all of my helpers show up at once? Do you want to take over? Do you want to go outside? You want to go outside? Okay. So I'm not going to pretend like I know what I'm doing, because I've never made one of these. But I don't want it to be necessarily perfect. A lot of the baits that seem to work the best because of their erratic action had some kind of flaw, like the old wiggle warts, or I don't know, there's been several baits over the years that have been modified, but the pre-Rapala wiggle wart's the one I can think of immediately because I'm a fan of those, and it's the imperfections in it that actually made the bait kind of dart off course instead of swimming perfectly in a straight line. The idea with this bait is it's going to sink to the bottom and it's going to be fluttering around and kind of changing directions. It doesn't have to be a perfect shape to do that. I want it to be aesthetically pleasing when you look at it, but I think having not a perfect symmetrical shape may actually help this bait. So I'm going to try to make it look good. I'm going to try to make it look, you know, like it should. But at the same time, if it's not exactly for, you know, somebody out there wondering why I'm not measuring or, you know, using more guidelines or anything like that, I'm just trying to make this bait look like what I think a big spoon should look like. I don't know, I feel like I'm making like antique silverware or something here maybe. Guess if this lure thing doesn't work out, I could always make paddle balls. That'd be something people seem to like, you know? Like 100 years ago. Trying to make sure my surface is nice and even. I'm debating on putting scales. I definitely want to put an eyeball on both sides. So I gotta leave enough material for that. Debating if I want to put a gill plate and everything else, just because this wood's gonna look so pretty putting a clear coat over it. gluing scales to it and doing a whole bunch is going to take away from the wood. But it's about the resin baits, not the wood baits, so I'm going to keep sanding and thinking about it, and you'll see here in a second what I came up with. So a lot of sanding and dust later. That's going to be the final shape. Think that's pretty good? Think it looks pretty cool? Still got to put some holes in it, but just trying to decide how fancy I want to get. Gonna do some research. Be back after some YouTube. Okay, bye then.
Hey, what's going on, Baders? It's just me, TV's Wally, taking a break from some lovely house fasts and to personally thank you for tuning in for this episode and reminding you to stick around for the next one where we're going to see the serial killer all finished up and pretty light. We're going to take it out and we're going to see if Matt got that action just right. You know what I'm talking about, Matt? I know you do. Anyways, we appreciate you. Go over and check out our channel. Subscribe if you can. We'd appreciate it. Fantastic. We appreciate you here at Fast Food Baits. Matt appreciates it. And we'll see you soon. Later, Baders.